Adjunct faculty perform a very specific role in higher education. We are a selective and distinct complement to tenured faculty as we try to bring a blend of specific combination of education and focused experience to supplement and complement the needs of the students and to work in conjunction with tenured faculty. We are definitively in no way a replacement of tenured faculty. Raising our workload by 25% to 5 classes per semester would fundamentally change the way that we engage with our students, the sons and daughters of this Commonwealth. Personally, this semester I have 130 students. Adding an additional 50 to 70 students would fundamentally change the way I am able to educate and mentor those young people. Whether it be assessment, classroom engagement and discussion, experiential learning events, out-of-classroom learning opportunities, or the time spent in office hours, counseling, and advising. Ladies and gentlemen, this composes essentially a 12 to 14-hour day, not 17 hours per week. So why is this important, and why does it matter? This single policy change in and of itself will fundamentally transform our state university system into a job training program. There is a fundamental difference between training and higher education.
And our students benefit from us doing this real world research because we're making the connections between what's actually happening in public schools and what's happening in their classes at the university. And I think this is true when you look across multiple fields. As we prepare our students, we need to have those connections. If my office mate Kylie were to be teaching 5 classes instead of 4, first of all, it's very unlikely she would be able to continue in doing this research project together with us. I think that it would be a great loss. She has a background as a behavior analyst. She has a lot of the practical experience that is really enhancing the study, and it would be a great loss to not have her be able to participate in that along with us. Additionally, she's currently in a doctoral program. And she's looking in the future, we would love for her at some point to be part of our team as tenure track faculty. Unfortunately, she would have to make the decision between continuing in her doctoral program and continuing at Kutztown University. And she doesn't want to have to be put in the position of making that kind of decision. And I think Kylie's story is the story of many of our wonderful temporary faculty throughout the system. So I do ask that you please reconsider this move to have our temporary faculty teaching 5 courses and to then have an increase in the number of temporary faculty at each of our universities. In the end, the students would be the ones to suffer because they would lose those connections between people who are actively engaged in research in our communities, who are making connections with those practitioners who are out doing the job that they're going to be doing shortly, and the people that are standing before them in their classroom. And we don't want those connections to be broken.
But I want to speak about my adjunct colleagues. In writing, the National Council of the Teachers of English say that courses should be capped at 15 to do appropriate work. Because of the amount of work that's spent grading papers, I have no bubble form. I was in class till after 9:30 last night and up at 5 this morning. We cap our freshman classes at 25. Some of those writing classes are capped higher than that. If you would have a tenure track person, less tenure track people, and increase the adjunct faculty, and then you ask them to teach 5 classes, for every single writing assignment, that means they have 25 more papers to grade. It means that they're pushing themselves in the classroom beyond what is even reasonable. We're all doing that already. But here's the other thing. Most of our adjunct faculty are doctoral students. They're trying to write. They're trying to write their dissertations. They are trying to publish. They're trying to do service, even though you would say, well, they're not required to do that anymore. They have no job security. So they need to do that to go beyond. I can tell you of a department in my college who yearly loses 5 or 6 people that are adjunct because they go somewhere else. One of those persons was a good friend of mine and is now at Randolph-Macon College in Virginia. They left because they saw this coming. They left because they had no job security. They get no raises. I understand that they get paid reasonably. I get paid reasonably, and I understand that. But what we're asking of those adjunct faculty is unfair, it's egregious, and it is unethical. Because what they do to the students in that realm is that they can't give them the time they need.
I specialize in nanoscale materials, so I know that small features can be very important. Sorry, that wasn't supposed to be funny. I came to Millersville University from a good job at a government research lab. What attracted me? My PhD advisor suggested it might be career suicide. Why did I come? I even asked to be removed from consideration after applying. What made me change my mind? It's very simple, the faculty. It wasn't until I came on campus and met the faculty that I felt that camaraderie and that support, that I felt that I could be successful and that I could still achieve my goals at Millersville and in the PASHE system. I came to Millersville without a cent of research funding, not a square foot of lab space, and without a single student interested in the research projects that I was wanting to do. I've already said I consider myself an optimist and a hard worker, but I'm very, very appreciative of the support I've received from the staff, the other faculty, and administration at Millersville to achieve what I have. I applied for external funding and failed. I then leveraged small internal grants to do the preliminary work I needed in order to be successful in receiving my first NSF grant. I've gone on to receive a second one, a prestigious career award. And I've also established a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Army to work collaboratively on real-time research needs. I'm now in my 5th year. I have over $1 million in research awards. I have a team of undergraduate students working with me who are also co-authoring journal articles, presenting at conferences across the country, and applying for their own research grants. I've had to work harder than many of my peers at research universities because of my more demanding teaching load and the resources available to me. So why do I stay? What reason do I have to remain at Millersville? And how will we attract and retain faculty who are dedicated to excellence in scholarship if we're not willing to back that through some support? I understand that funds are tight, but how will PASHE meet its own goals and achieve its vision without supporting the research it has identified to be important to student outcomes? In cases like mine, even a small investment can garner significant returns, not only monetarily, but also in establishing distinction and attracting motivated students and the quality faculty that this system cannot be successful without. So if we are going to meet the PASHE strategic goal number 1 to ensure academic program excellence and relevance, scholarship should be at the foundation.
Prior to beginning my doctoral studies, I had the opportunity to return to Shippensburg University as a full-time temporary adjunct instructor. It was this position that solidified my desire to go into the academy after practicing for 10 years as a social worker. While at Shippensburg, my colleagues, members of the department, many of whom included my former professors, included me in opportunities to engage in research and provide service to the university. In addition, I received a grant from the university's Office of Social Equity's Commission on Human Understanding to coordinate a series of trainings entitled Becoming a Leader of Social Change. This funding also provided a student with a stipend to work closely with me on the design and implementation of the program. I managed this while also maintaining a 4-4 course load. Had the state system's current proposal to increase adjunct faculty's teaching load to 5-5 while cutting their salary been in place while I was at Shippensburg, I would not have had the ability to engage in research, provide service, and write a grant that provided an amazing experience to the faculty, staff, and students who were involved. Experiences that strengthened my doctoral program application, provided me with the opportunity to preview what the academic life was like, and encouraged me to teach within the PASHE system after finishing up my doctoral studies. The state system's proposal to increase adjunct faculty's teaching load with the justification that they would no longer have to engage in research and service not only affects the adjunct faculty members' career trajectory, but jeopardizes the training of adjunct faculty members who may eventually become tenure-track professors at one of PASHE's schools. In addition, the state is also jeopardizing the expertise of its faculty through the proposed cuts to faculty scholarship and professional development. I have to tell you that while I love teaching, I also love research. Another reason I chose Westchester University, where continued scholarly growth comprises 35% of my workload. So 50% of my workload is teaching, only 50%. My first year at Westchester, I was the recipient of PASHE's Faculty Professional Development Grant. This funding allowed me to attend an international faculty development seminar in Madrid, Spain, facilitated by the Council on International Educational Exchange, a leader in study abroad programming. As a result of this training, I developed a study abroad course to the Dominican Republic. This was the first study abroad course offered in my department and included the first students from PASHE's Center City, Philadelphia campus to go abroad. The proposed elimination of the faculty professional development funding would affect future learning opportunities not only for faculty, but for our students as well. Public higher education is about providing opportunity to those who may not otherwise have the opportunity. Public higher education is a novel idea. Public higher education is about social justice. The state's proposed changes to our contract put us on a fast track in the race to the bottom.
I'm here to encourage you to continue to support the Professional Development Fund. It pays big dividends. I love the infinite opportunities slogan, and I believe in that. Our students need to have those infinite opportunities, and a great many of those are supported and come from the research that they do with the faculty. Faculty need to be supported in doing research so we can in turn support our students' research efforts.
In an era where we're trying to emphasize STEM fields, this is a measure that would simply devastate chemistry departments, or science departments, throughout the Sheehy system. Right now, it's pretty difficult to hire good faculty. I know for sure in chemistry, my field, and physics, and probably the other sciences as well. Our job searches seldom have very many candidates we would consider well qualified, and several of them will drop out before we have a chance to interview. When we get the chance to make a job offer, we are more often than not turned down by our first choice, and frequently by our second choice as well. One of the big factors that work against us is the workload. 12 contact hours is on the high end, even for primarily undergraduate institutions. And our job candidates are justifiably concerned that they won't have enough time to do scholarly activity while meeting this teaching load and doing service. Keep in mind that research in sciences is pretty time consuming and almost always includes undergraduate students. And this experience in the research lab doing undergraduate research is crucial for these students in applying for graduate school and trying to get jobs. So this is the situation right now, where we're teaching essentially 4 courses a semester. If this proposal will go through, we'd be up to 5, and in some cases 6 courses a semester. There's no competent young scientist who'd want a job at a Sheehy institution with that kind of workload. And we just heard a few minutes ago from someone who's been very successful at another Sheehy institution, but almost pulled out of that job search. If he'd gone to that interview and found out that he had to teach 5 or 6 courses a semester, I think the odds are a lot higher that he would have pulled out. He'd be doing the excellent work he's doing somewhere outside of the Sheehy system. Not only is it going to make it very hard to get any kind of decent faculty, existing faculty members faced with that kind of workload some of them, many of them, are just going to say, I'm not going to worry about research anymore. Because they're not getting paid for it, particularly if they're full professors. Why bother? It's too much work. And this would be a real disservice to our students, because they need this to be competitive to get things like graduate positions and grants. So my question to you is, what kind of science programs do you want for the Sheehy system? Do you want to have departments that can only recruit the young faculty that nobody else wants? And do you want to have existing faculty that are so overworked that they're just saying they're not going to do research anymore? And this would be a pretty sad situation, but this is exactly what we're facing if that proposal becomes part of the contract.
The research work that I did as an adjunct benefited the university, and was made possible by the extension of the teacher-scholar model to adjunct faculty. My story is reflected time and time again in the excellent research and service work I see from my adjunct colleagues. I'm positive that stories like mine are repeated across the state system. As I see it, the engine of growth and vibrancy for our universities will be diminished or negated if the proposed changes to faculty workload are adopted in the next contract.